Hi, this is Kirk, and today we're going to talk about my garden. It's the end of June right now, and you can see that I have plants all over the place here that are growing very well. We got peppers, we got tomatoes, we got peas, and you can also see a lot of weeds. And so we got to get those weeds under control because they're going to end up taking over the garden and robbing nutrients and water from your plants. You can see that we've got a lot of weeds in this section here, and this is an area that we haven't tilled yet or cultivated yet since we planted the plants, and you can see that the peppers and lettuce are getting buried in those weeds. And so today we're going to tackle these with the Earthquake Mini Cultivator and just turn these weeds under and pull those roots up so they don't want to keep going. Over here you can see that we have cultivated this area about a week and a half ago, and we got some weeds that are starting to come up again, and we're going to take those down too with the cultivator and get them turned under. With the most powerful engine on the market today for a mini cultivator, the Earthquake MC43 Mini Cultivator has more than enough power and speed to dig in some really tough soil conditions. But sometimes you don't want all that power and speed, especially when you're cultivating near delicate plants. So what's nice is you can actually control your speed with variable speed control. So you can slow down the till and the dig so you're not accidentally digging up your plants or covering them with dirt. As you can see here, you can get really close, like we've done here recently, and keep your plants intact. My garden used to be the side of an old barnyard, and as you can see, there are a lot of rocks in here that used to be in that barnyard. And when you're cultivating with an ordinary cultivator and it hits a rock, it just wants to jump out of the ground and run into your plants and cause damage to your plants. What's different about the Earthquake MC43 is that the handlebars are designed in such a way that they form a line from the user straight over the unit to the front of the tines. What that provides you is the overhead control that you need to help keep the unit on the ground if it wants to jump out. And the weight distribution of this unit is such that it wants to stay down and keep low without jumping into your plants. Most other competing cultivators out there have the handlebars come in behind the unit and connect in the middle so that it's more like a springboard. And it's very difficult to control that from jumping out of the ground. Now over here in the corn, we have the high side of the garden, which is starting to dry out after all the rain we've been having the last week. That rain will compact the soil a little bit, and when the sun dries it out, it'll actually become kind of hard. And it can be a little challenging sometimes to really dig efficiently. So we'll talk about ways that you can actually set up your cultivator and operate it so that you can actually dig in this very efficiently. There are three things you can do to help your cultivator dig better in the drier, tougher soil conditions that we get after a hard rain and after it's dried out in the sun. First of all, you can take your tines off and turn them around to the other side so that they're turning point forward. As you can see, there's a slope in the tine blade, which is the usual way of cultivating in softer soils and is great for digging those conditions. In harder soil conditions, you can turn your tines around so that when they turn, the pointy tip goes in first and will actually have a more aggressive dig. Another thing you can do is when you're cultivating, pull your cultivator backwards. What this does is when the tines are moving forward, they will be turning counter to the direction of the travel of the cultivator. That allows the unit to dig even deeper into the soil. Finally, the tine speed of the MC43 Mini Cultivator can turn upwards of 250 revolutions per minute. That's great for cultivating quickly in looser soils, but in hard, dry soils, you might want to slow that down to something under 200 revolutions per minute. You can accomplish that by squeezing the throttle trigger about halfway. That'll give the tines a time to really engage the soil and dig in without skipping across the top of the soil. In the rare event that you might get a rock stuck in your tines and the cultivator stops turning, don't worry about it. It's nothing to be concerned about. The gear-driven transmission is a very durable transmission, and the tines are made out of spring steel, which are designed to flex and without causing any damage. When we get this rock out, the tines will flex right back and be ready to go again. There are two ways you can get this rock out of here. The first thing you want to try is pulling off the tines and seeing if you can release the rock by removing the tines. If the tines are still stuck and you can't pull them off, then get a hammer and simply gently tap in the direction that the rock will want to go. Just remove the rock, put your tines back on, and you're ready to go again. One final thing. Once we've cultivated the entire garden and turned it under all those weeds, we're going to go back and add a mulch material like these dried leaves. What this will do is help keep the weed growth down throughout the rest of the growing season and keep moisture in the soil for the plants. In the fall, when we're done harvesting, we're going to come back with an earthquake front tine or rear tine tiller and turn all this mulch in where it can compost and provide good soil structure and nutrients for the plants that we're going to plant in the springtime. To learn about other helpful hints and tips, and to learn about Earthquake's full line of outdoor power equipment, come visit us at getearthquake.com. Hi, this is Kirk, and today we're going to talk about my garden. It's the end of June right now, and you can see that I have plants all over the place here that are growing very well. We got peppers, we got tomatoes, we got peas, and you can also see a lot of weeds. And so we got to get those weeds under control because they're going to end up taking over the garden and robbing nutrients and water from your plants. You can see that we've got a lot of weeds in this section here, and this is an area that we haven't tilled yet or cultivated yet since we planted the plants, and you can see that the peppers and lettuce are getting buried in those weeds.